The NFL Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBet. Bet $100 at WynnBet and get a $100 free bet. Head over to the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet. That's the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. We're also brought to you by the SGPN merch store. Use the promo code NFC Beast for 15% off, active until the Eagles or Giants lose their next game. And welcome, everyone, back to the NFL Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Wednesday, October the 19th, and usually that means we're here to preview the early morning slate, but we just did that. This is a doubleheader, and we are diving into the futures market mid-season version. I am Ryan McIntyre, and I am joined by my friend and co-host, Mr. Old-Fashioned Football himself, Justin Mark. J-Mark, show number 2. How you doing, man?
They made you read the Eagles, Cowboys, or Giants thing twice. It's torture.
I know it's double the pain. I'm like, oh man, not this ad again. So, yeah, no. For those that don't know, just tune over to the main station. The Giants and Eagles are both a combined 11-1. So, hey, if you had got in on either of those in the preseason market, you're doing pretty well right now.
For sure.
Yeah, and we're going to dive into this futures market, and we're going to start. We go back first off. Go back and see what we said in the preseason, so you can validate what we're saying, what we actually said. But we both listened back to our episode this morning and took what we had initially said, and we gave out a couple good angles, and we're sitting in decent positions. J-Mark, I will let you lead it off in the MVP market. Where did we go in the preseason for this?
Yeah, so, and just to kind of play off that, we did say it's such a volatile market because you never know what's going to happen, but everybody's plus money, so that's what made it fun. Starting at MVP, we both did not see how Josh Allen wouldn't be the front runner for this. He was 6-1 when we picked it. And then if you go back and listen, we did a who we thought would win and then a kind of a long shot. So my long shot was Jalen Hurts at 20-1, and yours was Kirk Cousins at 50-1.
So looking at the current odds, Kirk Cousins is not going to win. He's 40-1. He's actually, to be honest, he had a better year last year than he has had this year. Yet they're 5-1 versus 2-4, what they were last year. Now, As for your pick, I mean, you were sharp on that. Jalen Hurts is currently plus 450, what I'm seeing over here. And that's second among, obviously, to who we thought was going to be easily the front runner, and Josh Allen with those Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, but if you listen to us at 6-1, you were making money because it's 1.5-1 right now, plus 150 around there.
Yeah. And I think this may be the last week, or maybe by November 1, it's not going to be plus money. So if you got FOMO, go grab it right now, so before it's too late. So because I think we both can agree that this is his award to lose.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially, I mean, the win over Kansas City went a long way for him, obviously. But yeah, this is definitely his award, his season. And the only thing that stops that is if he gets injured, right?
Correct. And I know we talk about it. He takes some unnecessary shots at times, but I mean, you just look at his stats so far through 6 games. 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, thrown for already 2,000 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, over 250 rushing yards as well. And they haven't played a cupcake schedule. They played the hardest schedule in the league so far. You look at who was favored in the NFC the AFC West, the Kansas City Chiefs. They've already went to Arrowhead. Who was favored in the AFC North? Baltimore. They already went there and won. And then who was favored in the AFC South? Tennessee. They blew them out on Monday night. And he's already played Miami. And honestly, Pittsburgh's defense going into the year was supposed to be good. I know they're banged up, but he's played the hardest schedule. We agree. They're just going to keep rolling.
Oh yeah. That we kind of talked about it a little bit before we jumped on here. There's not a lot of games left that they are likely to lose, I guess, unless it's just a kind of a outlier.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their schedule right now. I mean, for example, they're favored by double digits against the Packers next weekend. You never would have thought that those words would ever come out of any of our mouths that Aaron Rodgers was a 10-point dog, but that's the reality of how good this Buffalo Bills team is, being the number one in offense and number one defense, DVOA, first team in over 20 years. So Adam Pelletier is definitely enjoying the segment that we're doing so far on this Josh Allen and this Bills Mafia wagon.
Yeah, and we kind of said it. Hurts is second in the market right now. Mahomes still has a chance. I just saw a headline that the Chiefs are a real contender to sign Odell. So if you think Odell can still produce, that could open their offense a little bit more. Mahomes sitting at 6-1 still. So if you have belief in Mahomes, that's still some good value.
And Lamar was probably the front runner through the first 3 games, but he's tailed off. He's 8-1 now. It seems, and he's banged up. He just came across the injury report as we're recording this currently. 5:00 Eastern, 4:00 your time.
Yep.
On Wednesday, October the 19th. So not good when a mobile guy's banged up. It seems like Mahomes and Hurts are the only one that has maybe a puncher's chance, but even with those guys, I don't think they have a shot.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But hey, if you had got in at 20-1 on Jalen Hurts in the preseason, go cash that out right now and take your value.
Agreed.
Well, hopefully, when you're betting the futures, you do so over at WynnBET. Thinking of joining WynnBET, now is the perfect time for new customers who bet $100 to get a $100 free bet. Looking to join WynnBET Biggest Winners Club? Whoever hit the biggest parlay on WynnBET odds wise gets a $1,000 free bet. Last week's winner of the Biggest Winners Club was a New York bettor who hit a plus 15,000 parlay on all money lines, wagering $110 to win a grand total of $16,743.56. WynnBET is truly DGens only. There's so much to choose from. All you have to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET so they know /WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at wynnbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in a state where you can play. WynnBET is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call 1-800-522-4700. All right. Keeping it in the awards market, we are going to move over to the Offensive Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year odds. Where did we go for Offensive Player of the Year?
So I had Jonathan Taylor at 9-1. You went on the other side, had Derrick Henry, who was at 10 to 12-1, kind of depending on where you saw it. And then our long shots, I took Christian McCaffrey at 25-1, and you stuck with your Minnesota Vikings theme there and took Justin Jefferson at 16-1.
So that one has a shot.
Yeah, no, yeah. Jefferson, I'm seeing 6.5-1. So that's a good call. And he's I feel like as good as he's been, I feel like he can even be better. Right. And so if he can put some more good games where he just dominates, he could easily jump ahead. Hurts is only plus 600, 6-1, so not that much ahead of him right now.
So it's funny to see Hurts and Lamar up top because I feel like these two teams are kind of mirror images of one another, not with their record, but they both like to jump out to leads in the first half. And for two teams that like to run the ball as much as they do, they struggle in second halves for some reason.
Yeah. Yep. They can't keep their foot on the gas, it seems like.
It's the weirdest thing. You would think with their style of play that they would be able to just keep it pedal to the metal and roll these teams in the second half. I mean, we saw Philly almost give up that 20-0 lead, and then obviously the Ravens, they blow a double-digit lead every other week. If you had to choose one right now, value-wise, who do you like?
I like that Jefferson play. I really do. Hurts, it's still at plus 600. So you're still getting 6-1 on Hurts, who they're obviously undefeated right now. So excellent value. Kind of my long shot that I'm kind of keeping my eye on, Saquon Barkley. We talked about him our last show a little bit of just how good he's been when they give him the ball, especially now that he's staying healthy. You can get him at 13-1 plus 1,300. He's got 606 yards, 4 touchdowns, 155 receiving yards, and I think they could get him involved more in the receiving game. So that's got a lot of value to it still, I think.
Yeah, let me ask you this: how does Josh Allen not win this award?
It's weird that he's so high up
Yeah,
there in MVP, but not offensive player. That doesn't make a ton of sense. But it seems like they're
yeah.
always different. I don't know exactly how they go into figuring which guy's the MVP, which is a offensive player of the year, but they are almost always different, it seems like.
Well, and we touched on this when we were talking about the awards in the preseason. This is such a media narrative driven award, all these awards. So I mean, it's kind of who has the best storylines going into this. Honestly, if the Browns would just give the ball to Nick Chubb, I would feel like he would have a shot at it, 12-1. But they, for some reason, want to throw the ball with Brissett. I'm with you. I kind of like Jefferson as well. I mean, Cooper Cup's pretty damn good still. I mean,
Yeah.
it's Cooper Cup or bust with the Rams. I mean, we see how bad that offense is. Maybe they get a little better. What about Stephon Diggs?
Yeah, I just Diggs is a great player, but it seems like the outbreak of Gabe Davis and how well
Hmm.
he's done in that offense, and I think that does limit Diggs a little bit as far as offensive player of the year. Still a great player, of course, but Allen's got multiple options there, so it's not all focused on Diggs. Unlike the Rams there with Cup, I mean, we haven't seen Allen Robinson take off. We haven't seen Ben Skowronek. Well, Ben Skowronek's almost done as much as Allen Robinson. So the thing with Cup is just I feel like he would be your offensive player of the year right now if Stafford didn't look so bad.
Yeah,
Stafford's looked terrible, and I just don't know if he can sustain getting Cup enough action.
I think it could come from some of these teams that are what 3-3, and if they go on a little run, maybe Lamar. I mean, I
Yeah.
know Lamar's banged up. We just talked about in the MVP odds, but if he gets it right, I mean, with the contract situation, there's a narrative there as well. He's not going to catch Josh Allen in the MVP. We already touched on that earlier in the episode, but maybe he gets the offensive player of the year. But yeah, no, it's weird how they differentiate these two awards.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get what goes
I
into
don't
it,
see how.
but
Yeah, how's Allen not like the guy? He's
right.
clearly the best offensive player, and
Hmm.
I mean, maybe the Bills are so dominant they just give the offensive player to Diggs.
Yeah, there you go.
What about let's switch over to the other side of the ball. There's a strong favorite now. I don't think either of us, sorry, gave him out in the preseason, though we did mention him in terms
Yeah.
of being one of the elite guys.
Yep. So I went with TJ Watt at 8-1, which that
Think it's
first
up there.
game it looked
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
uh, but then he is out injured. You had Aaron Donald. Um, and then for our long shots, I took Roquan Smith, and you threw out Crosby, but then also liked Khalil Mack too, who his stats haven't been terrible. But
Yeah.
they could have been better. Like when I watch him, he is playing with a high motor right now. So his stats are just a little lagging behind the effort I think we're seeing. So I still actually like that one, even though he's not in the conversation right now. I think he could start making a lot of big plays and kind of get back up there.
You can tell how good TJ Watt is and how valuable he is that he's still on the board and he hasn't played since week number 1.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you were on the right side and right track with that one. For everybody, the audience, Micah Parsons is the clear favorite right now at even money, actually.
Yep.
Um, I mean, leads the league in pressure, sacks. I mean, everybody, I mean, Dak goes out. We all know who carried that team. I know people wanted to make a quarterback controversy. There's no even joke of a quarterback controversy without Micah Parsons. The guy is an animal. I mean, I know some guys want to compare him to Lawrence Taylor, and that might be a little bit of a stretch, but
Too
I
soon.
mean, he's as dominant and athletic as I've seen in my lifetime in terms of
Yeah.
just completely dominating the game, moving them around. Um, I get Aaron Donald's there at 16-1 still, who I gave out, but I mean, they just triple team him now.
Brian Urlacher's flexing right now at you, saying that Mike Parsons is the most dominant.
Is
Urlacher could
that?
take a game over, man. No,
Oh, I thought you said Brian Urlacher's in our chat. I go, Brian Urlacher's
oh
in our
no,
chat.
I said he's flexing right now over the fact that you said the most dominant. That's the homer in me though. But he was a beast.
He
One of
was a
my
beast.
one of my favorite things was watching that Super Bowl when we played the Colts and him and Peyton Manning continuing to audible back and forth between each play. It was awesome. But yeah, Micah Parsons still getting even money. You would think he would be a favorite now as far as not even money, negative odds. So I like taking that still. I still think there's value in there. Um, Miles Garrett at 11-1. I think he started a little slow, but he's starting to pressure the quarterback more, 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. I think if he can continue to get in there, that's somebody that's going to creep up, that those odds are going to go down. So even if you throw some on it now and he has 5 good games and you can cash out and make a little bit of profit, I kind of like that.
Yeah, the problem with Miles Garrett for him this year was that the car accident that set
Yeah.
him back for a week, maybe a week or two. But I mean, we see that Browns defense without him; they're awful. So
Yeah.
they need him. Like you said, it's um if the other Bosa and San Fran got back, they could ride him. But I don't know. It's hard to take guys that are banged up because I mean, if you're banged up right now, you're probably going to be banged up going forward, and you're not going to be elite. I'm with you. I
Mhm.
think it's Micah Parsons or nothing right now.
Yep, agreed. The only thing I think that same with Josh Allen. The only reason he doesn't win it is if he gets injured, I think.
Yes, I
So
agree
take the
with you.
plus money.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean it's still plus 100, like you said.
Yeah.
So, well, that will move us on to our next award, and this is an interesting one, Coach of the Year, and this is also such a preseason expectations award. So currently, Nick Sirianni is the favorite at plus 150. I'm seeing, and in the NFC East, NFC East, Brian Daboll is 4-1. What did we give out in the preseason? I think we had a couple good ones here.
Yeah, but neither of us took them.
I know. Well, I don't
um,
take Eagles and Giants. Like
right.
I
Yeah,
let the
so
main station take those guys.
yeah, my favorite one that I threw out was Tomlin. I don't see that bouncing back and happening, of course. You had Dan Campbell just because of the media narrative of
Yeah, they
um
suck.
of Detroit, but yeah, that's not going anywhere. Our long shots though. Um eh, Both right at 50-1. You had Pete Carroll for the
Oh yeah.
Seahawks and I took Arthur Smith of the Falcons. I mean, those guys, they still got some legs. I mean, there's still a little bit of a scenario where that could play out, either one of them, really.
Well, yeah, and we're gonna wrap the show up at the end with not just only the awards market, but just a couple long shot division winners that we see that may have some value. But like you said, like Atlanta and Seattle, they're both sitting at 3-3, tied for their division through 6 games, a third of the season, or more than a third through the season. If either of those teams wins their division, they are winning Coach of the Year.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, the Eagles could go 14-3 with Sirianni, and they still would probably give it to Seattle or Atlanta, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. The Sirianni one, that's the one that scares me the most. As much as I want to believe in the Giants, and I just said on our last show how much I believe in them, I don't think they can sustain enough for Dabble to stay up there with Sirianni. So absolutely, based on the expectations, based off of trading Russ away and the boatload they got, if Seahawks win that division, how do you
It's
not
got to be,
consider
yeah.
Pete Carroll? Like, yeah,
Oh, he's got to be.
yep.
The fact that they beat Russ week 1 too, and they're just shitting on them shitting on Russ with the same players, and Gino is just cooking out there. I mean, he
Yeah.
looks like a
Oh, for
genius.
sure.
Hey, J Mark, do you want to get in on the Nathaniel Hackett sweepstakes at 100-1?
The only thing I'm getting in on that is for next to be fired.
Oh man, I mean, he better think about Rule for getting fired because he seems to be the next one to go on the chopping block.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. They should have the GM of the year award. Whoever finishes last every year should be fired, and I think it should be the whole Denver organization needs to be gone. Like, geez,
Bad,
maybe
you know.
Walmart will turn it around.
Exactly. Some guys that have moved in the market. Kevin O'Connell's up to 12-1 with the Vikings. Fast start. We already touched on Sirianni and Dable. But Mike McDaniel's doing a good job in Miami. I know they've had some bad luck with the quarterback injuries. He's 16-1. Doug Peterson's in Jacksonville. If they get on a roll and they win the division, maybe he gets it at 16-1 after taking over that dumpster fire set by Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
Maybe if the Bills go 16-1, does McDermott have a case?
It's so tough because, like you said, it's based off of expectations, and everybody expected them to kind of dominate the season. So it's like he doesn't get enough credit for continuing to do well.
Yeah.
It's more of those like, nobody thought the Eagles were going to be the last undefeated team, and that's why we see Nick Sirianni leading the race here. Little seems like a little unfairness to the award because that doesn't necessarily make him the best coach. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but yeah, how do you not consider the Bills, McDermott being able to repeat the success, being able to beat Kansas City this year now? And, but it's just that media narrative of who wasn't supposed to be good.
Yeah. Well, in an interesting one, you never would have guessed this guy would ever be in contention. But Mike McCarthy in Dallas, I mean, Dak goes down. They win, 4 in a row. They're in the hunt. I mean, righted the
Yeah.
ship. He's 28-1. I don't think he can win it now that Dak's back, but the fact that he even put himself in position, if the Jets go on a run and are a solid wild card team, Robert Saleh is 25-1.
Yeah. They made the Packers look like a terrible team. And neither one of us expected that, obviously. We locked the Packers up to win by a touchdown. So if they can keep putting games together like that, why not?
I agree with you 100%. And I got another long shot that I'm looking at. I know I gave Pete Carroll out. I'm going to give out the other old coach. Bill Belichick didn't forget how to coach either. He's got that
True.
team rolling all of a sudden. He's 50-1. What if they keep it rolling with Zappy? I mean, maybe they run it. Maybe they finish 11-6. I mean, maybe we're overreacting a little bit in the current moment, but he seems to have figured something out with that rush attack with Stevenson.
Yeah, I don't know how you go back to Mac Jones, and that's unfortunate for Mac Jones. I don't think he's a terrible player, but Bailey Zappi he's got more of an it factor. I feel like he can open that pass game more. He can move a little better. I like Bailey Zappi. I'm a big fan of him. So Mac Jones is questionable right now, but I don't know how they go back to him at this time. I mean, you're winning. It's hard to bench a winning quarterback.
Yeah, it'll be similar to what Dallas did. It seems like identical situations, except for that. I guess New England didn't pay Dak, New England didn't pay Mac what Dallas paid Dak, so
True.
they're not financially obligated to play. But it's like as soon as Zappy loses a game, they'll probably go back to Mac, don't you think?
Yeah, probably.
But I mean, even so, like say they start getting on a roll again with Mac Jones, and then everybody was killing New England in the preseason. That Belichick didn't know what he's doing. He put Patricia in charge.
Yeah.
And here they are right in the hunt again.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, Belichick is the king of no house advantage. That's just the bottom line. No house advantage is changing the game by offering the most dynamic fantasy sports platform available today. Play and pick 'em contests versus other people for a shot at winning the $250,000 plus in cash. Download the app, choose a contest, select your player props, earn points for correct picks, and climb the leaderboard for a shot to win the big money every day. You can also test your skills versus a house and 20 times your entry if you hit all your picks. Bet up to 5 player props, over-unders, and individual player matchups across every major sport, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, MMA, and NASCAR. Sign up now with the promotion code SGPM at nohouseadvantage.com or download the app on the app stores to get a first deposit up to $25. And we're also brought to you by Babbel, my favorite. Babbel helps me, man. I was not good in school learning a foreign language. So you know what I'm doing? I mean, I went to the Dominican Republic this past summer, so I had to freshen up on some foreign language, and I went to Babbel because all you need is 10 minutes. You can complete a lesson plan. You can start by having a real life conversation in a new language in as little as 3 weeks. That's crazy. Other language learning apps use AI for their lessons plans, but Babbel lessons were created with 150 language experts and voiced by real native speakers, not computers. Their teaching method has been scientifically proven to be effective. With Babbel, you can choose from over 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. And hey, the NFL's going to Germany too this year, not just London. So you better freshen up on some German if you're a Bucks or Seahawks fan. Plus, Babbel's speech recognition technology helps you to improve your pronunciation and accent. There are so many ways to learn with Babbel. In addition to lessons, you can access podcast games, videos, stories, and even live classes. Plus, it comes with a 20-day money-back guarantee. Start your new language learning journey today with Babbel. Right now, you can get up to 55% off your subscription when you go to the babbel.com/SGP. That's babbel.com/SGP for up to 55% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life. All right. We are moving along in the awards market, and we're going to go to comeback player of the year. And I think we were pretty good in this one.
Yeah. You were pretty good at this one, I think.
Saquon, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
You had Saquon, who was a bit of a long shot at the time. So you threw out Derrick Henry and then Saquon Barkley. I went with Mariota and Trubisky. We know Trubisky is not going to win that now that he has been
No.
benched in favor for Kenny Pickett. Mariota maybe still has a chance. He's not doing great stat wise, but if they can keep winning games, keep covering games, we'll talk a little bit later in the show about the NFC South. But if they can win that, I mean, and if they keep him in as a starter, obviously, it's hard not to consider him somebody who's, kind of ridden the pine the past 2 years and then comes into Atlanta and brings them back to a winning form and takes the NFC South. So it'd be interesting to see how that one goes. But yeah, you were more spot on this one than I was. That's for sure.
Hey, all I know is I got two of my favorite guys at 7-1 as well. Gino, baby, 7-1, taking over for Russ is cooking now. It's Gino's cooking now in the Great Northwest. And then Brian Robinson Jr., man, I think with Heineke being quarterback now, I think they're going to feature the run, and I think he's got a real shot if Saquon goes down. I mean, we all hope Saquon doesn't go down, man.
Right.
Like, it's great to see him back healthy. He's rolling again. I know Kramer likes Dan Jones at 33-1. You got a bone to pick with this Mariota market, right?
Yeah. Okay. So on several of the books, Mariota is 65-1 right now, which is fine. I get it. He hasn't put up great numbers. Ryan Fitzpatrick is 60-1. Why is an announcer better comeback of the player year odds than somebody who's starting and winning games? That doesn't make any sense to me.
No sense. I mean, why? You're right. Why is the guy that's announcing Thursday Night Football on the panel? I mean, they might as well put Richard Sherman and Tony Gonzalez on there while they're at it.
It's got to be the beard. He's going to have to go into the beard contest of best beard, Moonoff, Ryan Fitzpatrick, or Lovie Smith. So open that up to the audience.
Yeah, we're going to have to put that poll out here on Twitter now that we're live. So, yeah. No, Saquon seems to be the runaway. As long as he stays healthy, he's going to win this award. I mean, I'm going to get a little bit of Brian Robinson, I think.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you can win the comeback player of the year award your rookie year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting, but well deserved. If you guys have listened to the main station there, they said they're going to compare that injury to everybody else's injury. Oh, your hamstring hurts? Well, this guy was shot 4 times and he's back running the ball. So what's your excuse?
Yeah, no, I mean, this guy shot literally 2 months ago, same day he won the job, and now he's back as RB number 1. So yeah, I think the narrative's there, and like I said, or we've said, this is such a narrative-based award. So like Alex Smith wins it a couple years ago, and he only played 8 games.
Yeah. I'm still a little. I can't believe Antonio Gibson hasn't been looked at, and as far as that shooting goes, but I mean, it was the day they announced that he was going to be starting, that Brian Robinson was taking over the starting job. He gets shot. Like, what luck?
Yeah, we're not conspiracy theories over here or anything, but yeah, well, let's. They might need to look into that one.
Yeah.
Well, Brian Robinson is a rookie, so that transition over to the rookie market now. Um, where were we on this one? I'm trying to draw a blank. I mean, Ben Robinson's in this market too.
Yeah, so I threw out and said, as much as I wanted to take Brees Hall out of Iowa State, I wasn't going to because I didn't think the Jets were going to be that good. Now he's the front runner. So instead, I took Dameon Pierce. I guess I shouldn't have been so down on those Jets. You thought Pickett was going to get to start a little bit sooner than he did, and threw in Pickens. So we did say like this is a
Yeah.
tough one to do because it's normally a quarterback, and at the time there were no starting rookie quarterbacks. So our long shots, I took Algier for the Falcons, who has not looked that great. And then you had Brian Robinson and Romeo Dubs as kind of your long shots. So definitely right there with the Brian Robinson thing. I think now that he's starting, he's going to get back into conversation here.
Yeah, and I mean, Kenneth Walker's a guy to look at now with Seattle because that offense is rolling with the passing attack. It's going to get colder out west with Seattle, and I think Seattle's going to play in some meaningful games here that people didn't expect, and they seem to be riding the rock with him in place of Rashad Penny.
Yeah.
The Pickett, like you said, Pickett and Pickens, like with Pickett going down, I mean, maybe there's still an opportunity for Pickett to get back into this thing. Because
Yeah.
we know the media loves quarterbacks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind getting him at 14-1 right now. Who
I like
else?
if Chris Olave gets healthy, he's been targeted more target share than any other rookie wide receiver
The
this
Saints,
year.
yeah.
He's got more air yards. Like he's putting up some big plays for the Saints. So and that's 10-1 right now, depending where you get it. So I like that one too.
Well, especially because Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry, it seems like they're never healthy. But the only
Right.
issue in New Orleans, they don't know who is healthy ever. I mean,
Right.
they just said, I mean, they almost just beat Cincinnati this last week with their top three receivers out. Jameis, he's coming back. Andy Dalton's banged up. Kamara's always banged up. I mean, you can't figure the Saints team out.
Yeah, agreed.
So, what about on the defensive side of things?
So I took Sauce Gardner, and then you
That's a
took
good pick.
you took Aiden Hutchinson because of just again the narrative behind it all coming back, or I guess not coming back, but going from Michigan to Detroit to play. You also had Walker in there, Quay Walker. And then my long shot was Jaquan Brisker for the Bears. That's not happening. And your long shot at 21 was Karlaftis for the Chiefs, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I still like
Yep.
that one.
Yeah. Yep.
He's made some I mean, that Chiefs defense is better than what people thought it was going to be, and he's had
Yeah.
some meaningful plays. But I'm with you. Sauce is the guy. I think the Jets might have both the offense and rookie with Brees Hall and then Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, and just even the past 2 weeks, I feel like he's started making more of an impact on the field. So if he keeps that up, he's going to be in play there. Right now, front runners Tariq Woolen of the Seahawks at 8-1. So that's kind of interesting because we weren't even considering him. I wasn't, anyways, at the beginning of the season.
No. Quick question. Side note: did you pay Sauce Gardner to take the cheese head and run around Lambeau with it, mocking them?
Yes,
Was that you that paid him off on the side? A little, hey, do this. Don't
I
worry, I'll pay.
wish.
You're fine.
Yeah, I wish.
Because I know you've been wanting to do that for years and years.
Yep. Yeah. These teams, they love beating the Packers. I mean, you saw the Giants, even the London fans in New York, or at the London game when the Giants won, they were just happy to pick on the Packers, and now the Jets are too. I love it.
Yeah. Hey, Sauce, you're at the top of the rookies defensive market. You got the target on your back now, and I think he's embracing that, man.
Yeah.
And if you want to watch those New York Football Jets and New York Football Giants, go to Fubo TV. If you watch football, you need Fubo TV. Fubo TV gives you complete coverage of college and pro football with NFL Red Zone Plus games in 4K coverage at no extra charge. Over 100 channels of live sports and entertainment for a fraction of the price of cable. Watch on all your devices and never miss a game or an episode of your favorite shows with the included cloud-based DVR. Plus, there's no contract, no commitment, and you can cancel at any time. Right now, you can try Fubo TV for free for 7 days and get 15% off your first month. Just go to FuboTV.com/SGP. That's FuboTV.com/SGP. And you're probably wondering where to get all these futures markets. No other than OddsTrader. OddsTrader, it's a place to compare odds from all the major sports books. You can also compare the different sign-up codes and promotions from sports books to get the best deal possible. The app also provides player sets, key game sets, injury reports, and projected game day weather for bettors to get the best bets possible. It's also a bet tracker for bettors to keep record of their activities with all these major sports going on. Key features such as handicapping, play-by-play, live scores, and bet tracking, player stats, key game stats, projected game day weather. Bet Tracker allows you to keep records of all your games and betting activity. Go to oddstrader.com/Blue Wire. OddsTrader, one site for all your game day bets. So we have covered all the individual awards now, J. Mark. I want to dive in before we get out of here at a couple of these long shots that we're 6 games in. Some teams are being overvalued, undervalued. Some have skyrocketed. For example, the 2 New York teams and their Super Bowl odds. I mean, they both were like 100 to 1 or 80 to 1 going into the season, and now they've closed in on what 6 or 60 to 1 or 30 to 1 now. What is your favorite Super Bowl long shot?
Oh, it's hard not to. I mean, obviously the Bills are the obvious choice, but I wouldn't call that a long shot.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard for these Bills to beat the Chiefs twice. It really is. That's going to be a challenge. So the Chiefs sitting at 8-1 right now. I wanted to go with the Eagles, but I feel like it's going to be an AFC team. So the Chiefs at 8-1, I really like that value. I think that's a good value for a team that, despite not looking necessarily as good at times this year, are still a very good team.
Yeah, that's where I was going. But and for the record, everybody, our AFC East preview, we gave out the Bills at 550, plus 550 to win the Super Bowl. They're down to what, plus 275, 290, depends on what book you want to shop at. But I'm with you. I mean, you're not going to get a better value than 8-1 with those Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they're right there. They're the second best team in the NFL, and for you to get them 8-1, if you're going to take a value standpoint, I think the Chiefs are the play. You're not going to get them at a lower price, in my opinion.
Yep, agreed.
I mean, 2 teams that have really, really struggled. They have Hall of Fame quarterbacks. I know we've killed them in our previous episode. What about Tampa Bay and Green Bay?
Oh, I thought you meant the Bears and the Commanders.
No, I don't even see them on the. Are they even listed?
You got to scroll way down.
They're down in Carolina.
Yeah, I'm so down on both those teams. I don't think those offenses, the personnel, I don't think, as we said before, like the quarterback that's on their current team. I don't think Tom Brady is well liked right now. I mean, skipping walkthroughs, that why should everybody else show up and put in the work and he doesn't have to? And then Rodgers, I mean, he's saying that they need to simplify their offense, and he doesn't seem like he doesn't seem like a guy that is saying he's not smart enough to get it. He just doesn't seem like that type. So I took that as needs to be simpler for the people around him, right? So I don't think they can lead their teams anymore. I really don't. You're right. They are 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, as much as I don't want to admit that about Rodgers. But I don't see it happening this year. Their time is over, I think.
If the only way you can validate even trying to make an argument for him is if one or the other or both make a significant move at the trade deadline, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But like the NFL trade deadline isn't like the NBA trade deadline or the MLB trade deadline, like where you just insert somebody and it's like, there we go, because it's such a quarterback driven league. Now I know Von Miller got signed last year, but the Rams were not as bad as these 2 teams are playing right now.
Right. Agreed. If I had to pick one of them, it would be Tampa Bay. I think they have a more talented roster. They have, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Julio Jones maybe past his prime, but still a force when he's healthy. Russell Gage. So the offensive weapons are there. That defense is good. The Packers, if you look at their offense, besides Rodgers, you just have the running backs. You can't really call out the receivers as being great. And so I think if one of these teams can turn around, it's probably the Bucks. But yeah, I don't see it for either of them. Who would
No,
you pick of the two?
I'd choose the Packers because they have the longer odds, and I think they're the same team right now. They beat
True.
Tampa Bay too. I know that was a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago, but I do like. I think Green Bay has the ability to run the ball better than Tampa Bay too.
Yeah.
So maybe that is the version of simplify the game that Aaron and Rodgers is talking about. But hey, I don't know,
Well,
man.
he's tired of dropping back and getting hit, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's hard to get behind either team. What about AFC and NFC odds? I mean, we just threw out a couple long shots in the NFC like options. Neither of us want to take that right now. Do you like the Ravens in the AFC? Maybe 10-1.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. I mean, if Lamar gets healthy, you know, um, they've had some struggles with Rashad Bateman not being healthy either. J.K. Dobbins hasn't been able to produce, dealing with some knee tightness, but they do get Gus Edwards back soon, so
Yeah.
that should lift their run game some. I mean, he's in 2 years, I know he's not started. He's been kind of a backup, but he's still averaged over 5 yards a carry. So, yeah, I think that's a good play. As far as NFC, I was looking at this. I don't trust Kirk Cousins to win the big games, but they're the third team behind the Bucks. The Bucks are 4-1. Vikings are 7.5-1. It's hard not to like that, just in case the Eagles have a big injury like to Hurt. Well, I don't even know if Hurt's getting injured will stop them because they got Minshew mania behind him. But yeah, I kind of like the Vikings there.
What about the team that seems to always catch lightning in a bottle when they get in their Rod's team, the Niners?
And they did, yeah. I don't know if they can stay healthy. You saw what happened when
It's an even year.
when they weren't healthy against the Falcons. You saw the Falcons beat them 28-14. So
Yeah.
every year that team, and they have fired their strength and conditioning coach and got a new one, but they have injury problems every year.
I'm with you, man. The Niners, it doesn't seem like it's their year. I know they've had injuries, but like you said, they've had injuries every year.
Yeah,
It's nothing new there, and it seems like every other year they're good, and this is an off year for them. So there's just a bunch of teams that are 3-3 right now that it's hard to get behind any of them because you've
yeah,
seen so much of a glare of a need when you could just look at Buffalo and like
yeah.
how are you going to beat Buffalo? I mean, the only team I could see beating Buffalo in the postseason is Kansas City.
Yep, agreed.
So, I mean,
What about the Giants?
no,
Um,
I'm not getting in on the Giants.
I mean, just Dabble has been such a good coach for them. It's hard to back Dan Jones and say that, like, yeah, this team's legit, but they've played pretty well. So that's one that it's hard not to think about it. 25-1, just to sprinkle a little
They have
bit
a
on
long
it.
shot.
Yeah,
What about Washington and Chicago? 300. Just kidding.
put all your money on Chicago. They're making it.
Hey, yeah, hey, I'll tell you what, you'd be rich. You wouldn't have to work the rest of your life. What about
Right.
what about some division odds? I got one or two that I really like right now that I think they're being undervalued still.
Yeah, my favorite one is Falcons at 6.5-1. We talked about the Buck struggles, and this team seems to believe in themselves. They're not just covering every game; they're winning some games here too. So I think that if they can keep that up, if they can keep running Mariota like they did against the Niners, those designed runs, um, they're going to be a hard team to beat because if their defense can get healthy again and stay healthy, it's doing enough. It's doing enough. They play that kind of defense where they allow you to move from the 20 to 20 pretty easily, and then they really tighten down. So I could really see the Falcons making a push.
I like Seattle. I'm
Yeah.
seeing 11. I'm seeing 11-1, and they have the same odds as Arizona. I don't get how that's right. I mean, they're
Yeah.
tied for the division. They have a better offense. They have a better defense. They have a better coach. And we already touched on it. San Francisco should win it, but they're banged up. We've seen this script before. The
Yep.
Rams are struggling. They're banged up. And the Seahawks have a real home field advantage, and they're going to still get the Niners and Rams coming back home over these last 10 games. I think the Seahawks are going to be in it all the way till the end. I don't know if they're going to get over the top, but at 11-1, I'm more than happy to give that out.
Yeah. No, I agree. I like that a lot.
What about our Jacksonville Jaguars plus 425? I'm seeing.
I mean, it's worth looking at, isn't it? Because we talked about it on the last show, the Colts and Titans, like they aren't winning enough, and they're just beating each other up within this division. Meanwhile, Jacksonville, they're starting to put it together, and I could see a real scenario where they get it together enough to win this. This really is anybody. Well, maybe not the Texans division, but this really could be anybody's division at this point.
Agreed. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm with you, man. I think they're the best team. They've dropped a couple close games here, but I think they can get back in this. I think it starts this week. I mean, they got the Giants coming at home. They need to get a win, get that NFC monkey off their back, get to 3-4, and I mean, just stay around 500 because Tennessee and Indianapolis are not running away with this.
Right. Agreed.
And the Jaguars have the last place schedule from last year, so that does benefit them compared to Tennessee, who's going to have to play, in Indy, who are going to have to play playoff teams most likely.
Yep. How about win totals? Bears season win total is down to 5. You taking the over?
They at now 2-4.
Yeah.
They can get to 5. I'm with you.
I think
I'm with you.
even if you end up with the push and get your money back, I think they get 3 more games.
I'm pulling up the win totals right now. I didn't have win totals up. I am where are we at?
Yeah, I just clicked over to it just out of curiosity where the Bears were.
I got the preseason right now, and the Falcons were 4.5, so I think they're going to hit the over on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Seattle was 5.5. They're definitely hitting the over. The Jets were 5.5. They're probably going to hit the over. Actually, no, they're definitely hitting the over. They're at 4 already. Jacksonville was 6.5. They got a shot. Detroit's going to go under, like we said on our show. Yep. What's Washington currently?
Washington is at 6.
I think they'll go over. They always finish 7-10, right in the middle of a mediocre, another mediocre season in DC.
Do enough to give you a little bit of hope until you'll drop the last couple games.
Exactly, tickle you a little bit just to keep you coming back. Well, that's it for all our awards. So we gave some long shots with division, individual awards. Before we get up on out of here, J Mark, tell everybody where to find you, man.
Yep, should be on your screen if you're watching live. Follow me at JMark Football. All sorts of stuff going on at the Twitter. Find me up and down the SGPN app and website as well.
Yes, sir. And you guys can find me on Twitter as well at Moneyline_Mac. And we are going to be coming to you live via Twitter, YouTube, whichever one you prefer. You can watch us if you want to watch us make our picks and have a couple beverages. Meanwhile, we're going to do it every Wednesday at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. I guess if you're on the West Coast, it's right at about lunchtime. So tune in every Wednesday to check out our picks. You got anything before we get up on out of here?
No, just make sure you join us so you can chat with us. We're happy to answer questions on air. So join us next week, 2:30 Central. Or like you said, out there in California, take your lunch break. Visit us for lunch.
Yep. Give out some locks, dogs, and teases for week number 8 next week. So, hey, good luck with everybody with your bets in week number 7. And don't forget to let it ride.